Hello everyone, hello team, welcome to kind of a brand new session from our end for mock interview preparation. It's more like interview preparation and then mock interview questions. So team, like you can imagine, I have a very bad voice and unfortunately my throat is gone again. I've been kind of suffering with chronic sinusitis for a while and luckily could schedule my final surgery for tomorrow morning. So hopefully that should go well and I should get back to track. But right now I have to live with it. It does pain a lot and hurt a lot to talk even a few words right now. But um, it's a very important session and we're very excited. So I thought I'll give you a quick overview of why we've came up with this mock interview uh, questions program and what is it that we want to do with it. I hope you're all able to manage my audio and are able to see the screen also. Okay, team, please kindly let me know if there's any issue on that. All right, thank you, and thank you for your patience on this. So primarily what has happened is most of you are aware of the Jpac program, correct? It is a job placement and certified training. So as part of this, we provide an end-to-end training on the QA related courses and with a lot of emphasis being on automation testing and programming because of it. Now, while we were doing this, we also were working parallelly on resume preparations. How do we build the right resume? We were doing project work that could go as a reference on the CV, and we were also working on job board and certification, not certification, and job hunt. How do we go about getting to the job? Apart from this, we've also created a communication and personality development program, which Priya has been doing for the last few months now. So with all this in place, we felt very confident that our team will do very well. Now, what has happened is the challenge that we are seeing is this team. Number one and foremost thing is QA world is very diverse. Every QA team works in a very unique way. They try and implement their own process, methodologies, framework, automation, standards, and so on. Sorry, team. So what that does mean is we have a very large battlefield and expectations are diverse. And I will also talk about the Selenium Conference and ENIOT launch that we did last week, very briefly. But before that, when I say expectations are diverse, the industry is looking for SDET. And this is a specific term that is being used, that's what they're looking at. Or they're looking for something called as Selenium developers. This is the way the industry is trying to progress on. SDET, what does it stand, everyone? Can you please try and let me know? Can everyone see my screen? And guys, There are almost 70 participants in this session. So if you cannot see if you have any issue, please check it your end. What does SDET stand for? It's software engineer testing. Then what is SD in that? Yep, it is software development engineer in test. One of the prime things that has come up with the Selenium conference, and then I'll talk to you briefly about it as well, is that the QA world is getting closer to dev side. There is also smaller migration from dev team to automation testing. And this fits very well with our agile world and how we work towards the more common CI and CD. What does this CI CD stand for, team? You tell me. What is CI and CD? And if you don't know an answer, not a problem, team. That's the puzzle piece that's missing we're trying to solve out here. Continuous integration and continuous delivery. That's correct. That's what it is. What does it even mean? Because all my training I focused on how to keep things very basic, how to keep things more relevant for a software test engineer. I did not teach developers in this field. I've been training on, or we have been training as a team on, how a QA engineer can become very good at automation testing. But the kind of questions that come up are highly technical, which you are either aware just as a concept but not a term, or have not been exposed to them. So now let me talk about ENIOT. It's like a puzzle I'm building, team, everyone. You'll get a lot of clarity as I go through it for the next few minutes. What is ENIOT, team? What is the vision of ENIOT? ENIOT is automate any application under test. That's the kind of short form for it. Initially I said it's any automation, then I said any application under test, but it's primarily automate any application under test. What is the primary objective or the ground rules for it? In fact, there are a few polls that I wanted to quickly try and launch and try and get your idea of this. On your screen right now you have one poll question, please, that will really help me answer or understand the audience. Can you take a few seconds to answer it, please? What is ENIOT? And when you say that 19-minute video is one video, I'll share it with you. Even if you did not, if you are someone who knows ENIOT decently well, or you've been through my ENIOT certified tested training, then you're in the top option, team. I did not see a video. I have a fair idea. That's a good option too. Bits and pieces, and what is ENIOT primarily says, I don't know about it. So what is ENIOT, team? What is it? All right, so team, 80 plus participants. So just 74% votes, and I'm going to close it in the next 5 seconds. Kindly get your vote in, put your option on the screen, and then let me share these votes. All right, just about almost 80% votes, and here they are. So 45% of you are aware of what NEOT is, have seen the video. 23% have not seen the video but still have a fair idea. So almost 68% of you have a decent idea on what it is. 16% of you have brief idea, and other 16% have a much more better idea. So primarily what is happening, team, is in today's world, and this is where I can talk to you about what we've seen in Selenium Conference as well. neot.com is the website that you can go and take a look, please. And it'll talk to you about what it does. We have taken the power of Selenium and Java. We've built a hybrid framework around it, made it very, I think you can still see the results. Can you see my website now? Can you all see my website, team? Okay, cool. Thank you. So it basically talks about the different features that it has, how it hasn't been built, and what it primarily does. Now, and then we have the NEOT application. So if you go here and say you want to try the NEOT for free, it'll take you the app, and you can log in here and start building it. NEOT primarily is an easy to build and manage test automation, test management tool, not even automation. It gives us the ability for non-dev users to write test cases that can be quickly run on Selenium with zero coding. So all that you do is through this simple web UI, where you go in the details and start entering. On Wednesday, I'm going to have a session and talk a little bit more detail about it. So the whole purpose is how do we get manual QA the power to run automation testing. This has been the primary purpose of it. And then there is no coding at all. You cannot export the test even if you want to change the code. All is done on the simple web UI. I still say simple, though it's not that simple for end user yet. But the reason I say simple is that's the vision and goal, team. Now, NEOT is not 100% solution for QA or automation. It takes the bulk of manual testing and converts and automates them to the best of the possible scenarios. That's what it does. Now let's talk briefly about the Selenium Conference, which is really relevant to what we're doing. In this conference, we were one of the sponsors this time in Austin, Texas. And there were many competitors who had almost very similar or trying to solve the same thing using Selenium. Every sponsor that you see here, except for PlayStation and New Relic, are all focusing on the same thing. How do you use Selenium Webdriver to run automation tests? Some are visual tests, some are like Micro Focus is building a tool very similar to Selenium IDE. Mobile Labs is actually a solution provider where they have a cloud with multiple mobile devices and smartphones, tablets available where you can install and run your apps for testing, or you can hire a kind of a box which you can take it and start putting your devices in it. HP also is surprisingly going that route, team. They're talking about their new Lean FT as a product and how that is using again Selenium as a backend to run the HP UFT tests. Sorry. So with Selenium being open source, everyone in this whole world, look at it, even qtp is trying to get there and solve a particular problem. So be it parallel execution, framework concepts and so on. None of these people, however, have really done anything on the framework side. They're all still record and run, and how we can do a cross-browser, cloud-based execution, multiple devices, environments, and so on. That's where I believe, though we're a small startup compared to all these bigger organizations, we have a solid edge and advantage. And we want to be able to utilize and take the best advantage of it in the right way. Now, but what we do in-house, be it at Workasa, which is a parent company, ITlearn, which helps to grow, or Anyot, which is also our flagship product, and the QA on air, which is the whole concept of consulting on the cloud. Some of our best people from our programs like Jpac are still facing interview challenges. And that surprised me too. How could such people who are building Anyot, who are working on it, who know Selenium in and out, automation frameworks, coding, still have questions, still have areas where they're blank faced in front of an interview panel? Why? Because I believe we are filled the jar with, I would say, sand, not stones. You know the whole point, this concept, team?
No.
I'll try and draw, but I'm very bad at drawing. I'll warn you early. I'll still try. Give me a minute, team. I'm trying to figure where the pen is. Sorry, guys. All right. So I'm not sure. See, here's the thing. Sorry, 1 second. Sorry about my cough in the background, team. Really apologize. Yeah, I'm actually, like I said in the beginning of the session, team, I have a surgery scheduled for tomorrow because I'm having chronic sinusitis, and that means that I just need to get my nasal passages cleared with kind of a small surgery. It's not a complicated one. All right, I'll try and draw a jar, team. Okay, and let's assume this is the open of the jar. Now, let's say I fill this with stones, okay, or rocks, all the way to the up. The concept is there anything else that can get in? Can we put anything else into it? I'm assuming everyone can see my screen. Yes, what you could put, we would say, let's say the first one. And again, when I ask a big group, they'll give me all the correct answers, but typically someone would come and say, hey, you can put some water into it. Someone will say you can put some sand into it. So let's say that you can put some sand into it, okay, and it will fill the gaps to a certain extent. And then we could talk about the ability to add some more water into it wherever there's a gap. And that's when this is like a full jar. Now let's assume that this is the global QA organization. Okay. ENIOT is teaching you those rocks, maybe stones which are smaller. When I say ENIOT, not ENIOT, Jpac, IT-Learn, whatever we're doing. But there's also the sand and the water that the teams are expecting. No one in this entire globe team will expect you to know this entire box, period. Not necessary. We're trying to be more focused about it. But then within this, can someone know this portion well? This specific part. Let me use this one. If you know this portion or this portion or this portion, it still needs to be filled with rocks, stones, sand and water. So rocks and stones have kind of given you that 80% coverage. Sand has given you maybe that 15%, and then water is giving you that 5%. So with this 80%, the team has been successful. Lot of participants. There's no question about it. I've heard back from successful stories in the last few weeks from many Jpac members as to what they faced and how they could kind of get through the interview. One of the primary things they focused is frameworks, ENIOT, how they built or what is ENIOT all about, and coding to the decent level. But then it's only taking care of 80%. What if you want to make sure, let's say you're not very strong on this, and out of this you just make 50%. Now this specific mock interviews that we planned will try and handle the remaining 20% and get you there to that 65-70% at least. So this is the factor. Now training is giving you a 50% skill team. The project work is giving you another 25%. And then the certification tests, let's say, is giving you another 5%. I'll not go too aggressive on this. We still have how much left? 20%. This mock interviews should give you that. Now, what are mock interviews or what is it? It is basically simple thing. It is such a strange thing. It just depends on who is there on which side. It is that simple. It's like a war game. I've tried to very psychologically analyze this. You have a wall in between. On one side is the client or representations from the client, and then the other side you have candidates. In between you have people like consulting companies or training companies like IT-Learn, and we're trying to get you to the other side. Okay, let us say you're applying for a senior QA analyst. Okay, senior QA analyst. Now in the interview panel out here, there is a QA manager, there's a QA manager, there's a QA lead, and there's a QA analyst interviewing you. Once you navigate and go here, you will sit somewhere here in between. But still this person is trying to interview you. You could be applying for a much more senior position, does not matter. But still, this is the fact. Now, if we need to respect this and do that, we need to understand where they come from. So their base is to try and prove themselves technically strong in front of their leadership. So what will they go? They'll go Google, find some, again, not disrespecting, no disrespect to the QA analysts here, just that they'll go Google and find some tough questions to which they know the right answer. All right, because they've learned that question. If I as Karthik today goes and attends the same interview, okay, I'm sitting here, believe me, it's no different. But I will get through because of two things. One, I'm a very good sales guy, and I believe everyone should be a great salesperson. Second is, I know what I know, I don't know what I don't know. I'm clear about it. And I'll keep diverting that focus of what I know into that conversations. So for this, give me 1 second. So for this, it becomes very important from them to technically challenge you. Are they going to use it? No, not necessarily. This is one model, but in a different model, the same thing in a much more efficient. I'm not saying industries like this. A developer is there, a genuine automation engineer is there, and they're actually asking you questions because they built a custom product or a custom framework, and they want to know if you will fit into that system. And sometimes they're not looking at answers only, they're looking at approaches. How do you approach? How do you answer it? And that's so critical, team. So what we said is this, very simple. I said, so me and Manoj, we were doing this mock interviews for some of our, I knew for sure, some of, I was very, how would I say, um, what's the wrong word for adamant, proud, confident. I was extremely confident, uh, very, comfortable that, oh, these candidates, they'll get a job anywhere. They're awesome. I'm not talking about one. I'm talking about dozens and dozens of people, the mock interviews. But then the kind of questions that we were getting asked by Manoj especially, I was like, Manoj, do you think this is needed? I was trying to play devil's advocate there. Manoj said, yes, Karthik, this is what industry is looking for. This is what they're asking. So then I realized that why don't we have done all the hard work. Now this big stones is done. Now why don't we do the filling of the gaps? And then we are continuing to fill a document which is for the mock interviews with all the tough questions that typically will get asked as of now on Selenium and Java, and try and ask the audience, how would you answer them? What would be there? What would be your answer? So this mock interview questions is just not about asking weird, sometimes genuine, sometimes show off questions only. It is also approach to answers. The way we wanted to structure this is simple. Each session, Manoj and I would come in and ask about a dozen questions. All right? Or we will rather give you those dozen questions before the session. We'll see how it will go, team. Once we do that, we want you to unmute and answer. Maybe 2 or 3, or let's say 2 to 4 members can do that. And then Manoj and I would like to provide the feedback over it. And say, hey, is this better to do it this way? And so on. This way we want to cover anywhere between 100 to 200 questions. Some through the live sessions, some through the offline activities. Like we'll create kind of a forum or some kind of a section where we can continue to do this on a regular basis. Now, at the same time, we also recommend the participants to share the questions that they are coming up. We don't want to prepare you with a cheat sheet for a specific client. I know if you go and say, hey, what are the top questions you'll get asked at, let's say, Citibank or Bank of America or Facebook or GE and so on. That's not what we're looking at, team. We're looking at what are the questions that are getting asked overall and prepare you for it. So, for example, when I don't know how many of you are from India, but I wrote one of the competitive entrance exam. It was called MSET, and this I did in 1994. And I was amazing. I was just super rock solid on my maths and physics. But when it came to chemistry, I was absolutely the bottom of it. Somehow it didn't fit me. I could not understand him. I'm sharing some of my personal life experience as well with you all. But then I had to struggle through it. It was not my favorite subject, but I had to struggle through it. This is for my engineering entrance. And this was typically written by, I think, somewhere between 2 to 400,000 participants. That's how competitive these tests are. But then I needed some kind of a support to get me through chemistry. I'm not worried about maths, not my physics, because I could understand the base, the concept, and I could build on it. And believe me, team, I never knew a single formula. I used to derive formulas in the exam. So when I sit down and start doing it, I used to actually build formulas and then get to the answer. But I knew some base concepts. And don't even ask me any question right now because I'm totally away from it for a long time. But that's a fact. And with extremely poor chemistry, I could still manage to get, and let me share you what rank I got at that time. It was 55th rank that I could achieve, with chemistry being absolutely like 60% or something like that I got in chemistry, where people use that as a scoring subject and they used to get 95% plus for sure. Anyone used to get it. Just because of my maths and physics, I got saved. If I would have got the same thing at 40%, this rank, I may have to add another maybe 2 zeros to it. But then someone rightly suggested, a guru at that time, saying that, Karthik, your chemistry is poor. I know you can't understand, you can't master it, but try and mock the interview, mock the exam, try and understand what questions come up typically, get a conceptual idea, more theoretical, go for it. That's how I could be successful, team. And I believe today I'm in a position to kind of give the same guidance. So every time at IT Learn, it's a constant endeavor to fill in those gaps. We have quiz, we have interview questions, we don't have it structured. Right now we're putting into a structure. That's it. Did I answer most of your questions or give you an idea? Any questions that you have, team? Let me know. And then Manoj, maybe you can give us a sample, a few questions that typically get asked in an interview and how we're supposed to answer them.
Yeah, sure, Karthik. So I guess for team, it was a detailed explanation by Karthik, and you would have got the idea what we are going to do in this Selenium mock interviews and what kind of approach we are going to do. So I'll go over a few of the questions and let's see. Typically what interviewer they try to ask, or they try to see your confidence level or your knowledge level, at what level you are. So generally they start with very basic, like if I ask what is implicit weight and explicit weight, okay, out of 10 people, five people will not answer this question, but many times we have used in our script, we know concept, but I'm damn sure if I ask this question, many people will not try to answer, or not will answer that exact thing what they are looking for. Okay. Uh, so similar questions, like if I ask how to right click using Webdriver, why this question is asked in the interview, right? We rarely use right clicks somewhere in the on the web page or anywhere you are writing a script for the web page, right? So why the question is asked like how to right click on a web page? Because uh, if you know the concept, right? So there is a logic behind it. Okay. So see, the interviewer is trying to know the knowledge of yours about actions class, because actions class is a very useful class, and it also give you the uh, view of yours knowledge to the interview, like, okay, have you really worked on it? Have you really you have practical experience or not? So these kind of questions generally ask to check your experience level, and if you are really a genuine Selenium candidate. So actions class provides a lot of things like context click, some menu click, on those things we try to use using actions class. Okay, but most of the people, they doesn't know about actions class is there or not. So if you have real experience, if you are a genuine experience in Selenium developer, so he might think like this is the means common scenario any Selenium developer will come across while automating any web page. And if you didn't know action class, so he might think, okay, you not have the either genuine experience, or you haven't worked at that much level. You just know the basic write the few scenario and all. Okay. So in the same this is my personal experience, team. So suppose if I ask, we all know we start with Firefox, right? Selenium with Firefox. When we start with IDE, then we create a WebDriver script with Firefox. So that is the basic point we start. But if I ask a question, okay, uh, how we create a Firefox profile, or what is the importance of the Firefox profile? Okay, so can you tell me what is the use of Firefox profile in WebDriver? I'm
So
sure
Manoj,
many of you,
Manoj, if
yeah.
you don't mind, can we go through a few questions to the audience itself and let them try and answer it? And let's
Okay.
then try and correct it like the actual sessions are going to be, just not questions and our answers. Also let the audience, I mean, we should know how they are answering and then try and help to build them. And team, it does not matter to be an online session, so your identity is nowhere. So in terms of your name and so on. Are we done with the
Okay.
first
So
question on
if anybody,
how to perform a right click on a web page?
so anybody wants to answer this question, how to right click on a web page? Okay. So
So
Anjuman, let me unmute you. Yes, Karthik.
go ahead, go ahead.
Muted.
Hi, Anjuman.
Hi, Anjuman. Hi, Manoj. Hi, Karthik. Do you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, we can hear you. Okay. We use right click. We use action class to achieve this action?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Do you want me to
So,
tell how we do it?
can you tell me a few lines of code how we do this?
Give us the exact code line, please. How does the code?
Okay, sure. So action, and then you have to declare the class actions, and then object is action, and then new action, and you're passing through the driver. And then if you want to right click on it, you have to have a web element. So you have to declare web element as well before you declare the action class. And then you have to tell the object we created, action, and then we have to pass the element, and then have to say context clicks dot perform.
Okay, so there is one method. You are right, Anjuman. So when we create an object of action class, so
Yeah.
we get different methods like context click. So context
Yes.
click is used for right click. So
Yes.
in this method we pass the element whatever we
Yeah.
want to click.
Web
So we
element.
pass,
Yes.
yeah, correct.
Web element. You pass before that. Yes.
And
And
then
can I share one more thing? Um,
yes.
Whenever there was a few interview I faced, just yeah, on Friday I faced interview with IBM. It was about 2 hours interview. There was a test team, there was a dev team, there was a manager, there was a whole one member from the management team. So what I found, they have asked me the question about behavioral question and about my project. It was like, like how I did my project. And they asked me, what was your challenge? And how you fix those challenges with your team member? And how long is the sprint is? And how often you meet with your developer team? Then they asked me why you used array, not the array list. There's a lot of question. Test team, they were nice with me, but the developer team, he was like, asking me every single thing about the coding as well as my program, because he doesn't have any idea how to build a framework. He said, I have no idea what you're talking about. Then I have to explain how I like I had developed my framework from data-driven, keyword-driven, and hybrid-driven. And then after 25 minutes, then he got my point, how I am doing my framework. Or they're just asking me, guessing that I am doing my automation only Selenium IDE. Then I have to tell him, no, I am not using Selenium IDE. I am doing the automation, doing coding, and through my framework, I am executing my framework to do the automation.
That's true, Anjuman. Whatever the Karthik was telling initially in this session, they are looking for software developer engineer in test. Okay, so that's why
Yeah,
in that interview one developer will be there or two developers will be there, and they will try to understand how much knowledge of Java you have if you are going for Java or
exactly.
C sharp, right?
Exactly.
So
But the test team, they are so nice. They are not giving me any trouble. But the dev team, he just wanted to know my skills on the program language. I had a
yes,
great time. I really enjoyed my interview.
good to know, Anjuman. That's good.
Thank you.
Awesome.
And my special gratitude to you, Karthik, and also Manoj. You guys helped me a lot.
Thanks, Anju.
Thank you so much.
I think
Thank you.
myself when you tell me, right, believe me,
Yeah.
I do not know the question to the developer's question. Like, why do you use array, not an array list, or vice versa? I can be so rude and
Yes, he
say,
told me.
yeah, that I don't know the answer. Ask Google. I will find a solution at that time. But then I'll ask the developer, what is a keyword-driven framework? Would he know or she know? Not
No,
necessary.
he doesn't know. He told me that I have no
Exactly.
idea what framework you are talking about. Then
Exactly.
I proudly told him that
And they think that,
how I built my framework and how weak it was.
yeah, and they think
Thank you,
very, very
Karthik. I had a
confident.
great fight.
Absolutely. Thank you.
I had a great fight. Thank you so much.
So the point is, team, it is, we can still fight and say what we've done, and that is respectable, team. No questions asked on it. If you are able to, like Anjuman, you said, you're able to focus and get the attention more towards the frameworks that you developed, like ENIOT, that's a great discussion topic. By that itself, most of the members have got through, and that's how successful people have been. So that's why we never got into placements. But now we felt that let's cover that small bridge that we have not done earlier. Let's be prepared at least. Even after these sessions, you can say, I know this is what arrays do and what arrays lists do, but at the same time, I'm not too worried about it. But the core competency is frameworks, is trying to build an automation suite. That's the core concept.
And you know, Karthik, they asked me, do you know what is black box texting and white box texting? I said, yeah, I know. And he was so pleased. He said, you have no idea how many people they doesn't know what is black box texting and white box texting.
So you
I
could
said, oh, really?
answer that.
I don't know. Yeah, I did. I did every single thing.
Oh, wow, awesome. Awesome. And Anjuman, did you have experience? And thank you, Anjuman, for I mean, this
Thank
is
you.
something that you've gained in the last 2-3 months, I assume, right?
No, I just I just prepared my resume 2 weeks back,
Okay.
and then I got a 2 interviews, and one is from IBM, one is from Express. So I had a good fight, and I'm waiting. This week they will let me know.
I like the way you said I had a good fight. I really loved that word.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. Like, you know, it's a 2 hours interview. Oh my goodness, but I had a great time.
Amazing. So this is what I think collectively as a team we can come together and help each other through that learning. That's what is most important.
Yeah. Thank you. I really, I loved your, I love the way you taught me. I thank you so much.
You're most welcome. All right. Um, so who else wants to give an answer for the same question? Anyone
Thank
want?
you, Anjuman.
Thank you, Anjuman.
Before that,
Sure. Sorry, Manoj.
Karthik, I guess would like to answer Hitesh. Yeah, Hitesh asks a few questions. So no, we are not ignoring your question, Hitesh. We are accessible. If you have a question in the class, you can directly ask. Like we say, like if you have any question, put in chat, or you can we can unmute you and you can talk. And if you have another questions, like if you need technical assistance or anything, so you can email us. Okay, we have forum, so we will try to help there. Okay.
So I just saw Hitesh's question as well. Again, guys, I'm trying to go to the chat, but also focusing on the conversation. So let me try and balance it. I'll try and answer the questions as well while Manoj goes through a few questions. The question was, how easily are Manoj or Karthik accessible? The answer is not very easily. Very simple. That's the answer, team. We are not, because we're trying to do this for hundreds of participants. But at the same time, for Jpac, we definitely want to focus a lot more to be able to directly be accessible as much as we can. And we are putting these programs. We also have talked to Karthik sessions every 4 days a week. And those things are there for you to access. Then you have multiple ways. You know, there's a saying, if you search hard, you'll even find God. And we are hardly anyone. So you just need the right approach, the right thing to go for it, and we're always there for you. What is Jpac? Okay, Hitesh, what we'll do is we'll share a link with you that you can look at. It's basically a all-inclusive training with IT Learn. Everything that we do is included in this program, which is a $2,500 course, including the placement and a few more additional initiatives that we do. You're welcome. Sorry, Manoj, go on.
All right. So anyone would like to answer that question? How to suppose I ask how to right click. Suppose someone asked how to drag and drop, because nowadays some applications will be there, elements will be there, you need to drag and drop something from one location to another location on the web page. So if I ask this question, anybody wants to answer this? This is very similar to previous question. There is no difference. So just if anyone wants to answer this, how to drag and drop on a web page. Okay, I don't see any message who anyone wants to answer, but let me, okay, you can try. Let me unmute you, Hitesh.
Hitesh, Lizzie, my answer will be we'll use a mouse.
Hitesh, I have unmuted you.
Hey, sorry, I haven't taken the Selenium course. I'm just going over this to see how the webinar is, so that I'm looking for the Appium course.
Okay, okay, all right.
So that's why I couldn't answer your question. Sorry.
No problem.
Hey, no problem, Hitesh. I think
I'm still to take the course.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's perfectly fine.
Manoj, I think there's a different Hitesh that you're supposed to unmute.
Thank you, Hitesh. Oh, is it?
Hitesh Shah, right? Said yes.
So that would be my, yeah, that would be my.
Sorry. I kind of muted.
Hi there, hello.
Yes, Hitesh.
Hi. So that Hitesh will be my lost brother, probably. So the question you asked, Manoj,
Go ahead.
the question you asked was how to drag and drop an element from a web page. Was that your question?
Yes.
So the simplest way I can answer is you take your mouse towards that object, point it towards that object, right click, copy that object, bring it to the location where you want.
So Hitesh, you are answering how we perform using mouse, right?
That's correct.
But we are talking about in terms of Selenium. So suppose you are writing any script, okay, and you have to drag and drop through code, not through mouse, not using mouse. So in that case, there is some method like action class we talked, right?
All right. No, I'm sorry. I missed the whole like 25% of the lecture. So I'm sorry about that. I thought it was about mouse action. Okay, I take it back.
Okay, no problem. Yeah, I know, Lizzie, you will answer. Okay, let me unmute Lizzie. Here we go. Yes, Lizzie, I have unmuted you. You are there? Okay. There is Srihari. Let me unmute you.
Hi Manoj, Srihari here.
Hello. Hi, Srihari.
Yeah. So similarly, we have to use action class. So here also we have to use move to element method.
Mm-hmm.
Before that, we have to use click and hold.
Okay.
And another method is release method. And before that, we have to find the using locators. We have to find the objects.
So see, Srihari, your answers are correct, but how you are answering is from the end to the you are going to the beginning, right? You said move element, then click and hold, then you find locators.
Yeah, first we have to click and hold. After that, we have to use move to element.
Okay, so when you are answering, try to first think, okay, what we need to is follow the steps. Like first we need to identify that element. That's correct point. Then we should come like, okay, click and hold, okay, and then drop. Or there is also a method drag and drop available with action class, I hope. So you can directly means you can provide the source and destination element, right? And you can directly use then drag and drop. So there should be sequence in your answer when you're answering a particular question. You are telling me the right thing, but you are telling the last thing first, and then you are coming the beginning. Okay. So that is not the correct way to answer in question. Just think and then think what we need to follow the steps. Like first I need to do this, then this, then this. That's it. Like 3 lines of a code, right?
Yes. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for it.
Can you hear me?
Thank you, Srihari.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yes, we can hear you, but your volume is, I think your voice is very low.
Can you hear me now? Yeah, for drag
Yeah,
and
much
drop,
better. Go ahead, please.
yeah, for drag and drop again we use the action class. So the code will be like the actions. So I will create an action variable like if I say act is equal to new action of, then I'm initiating that instantiating the driver. Then I'm doing the drag and drop, right? So I'm choosing the source element where from the element to be copied. So I'm creating a web element. So web element source is equal to where the web element will be, like driver dot find element of whatever it is, by text path or by its ID, like that. Like the same way I'm choosing the target location, like web element target is equal to driver dot find element of by text path, then the export of that element. So here I'm doing that action. So I created the variable act. So act dot drag and drop of what is the source. I have created source, comma the target. I'm doing the operation. So it's perform. I'm performing that operation. So dot perform of. This is the
Okay,
code.
so in the yeah, that's correct, Lizzie. So in the same question, interviewer can ask another question. So in action class, we use build dot perform, right? So they may ask
Yeah.
why we use build, why we use perform. So can you try to answer, Lizzie, this question?
Perform one more action. What did you say?
See, after drag and drop, you say actions dot drag and drop, and you pass the required web element. After
Yeah.
that's not the only code. You need to do actions dot perform or actions dot build dot perform, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they may ask this question, what does build method does or what perform does here?
Sorry, Manoj, I'm not familiar with that build.
Okay, see,
So perform, I'm doing some action with that mouse. So I'm doing that perform of operation here.
okay,
These are the
that's the
mouse,
correct. Yeah,
mouse
if you
right? That's what.
yeah. So let me answer this. Means for other people as well. So see, when you use action class, so we need to after like context click or drag and drop, we need to do actions dot perform. We need to write this line, otherwise whatever you want to do like drag and drop or right click, that will not happen. Okay, you need to do actions dot perform. Perform is a method. Whatever method you choose, that will perform on the web page. Okay, but there is a actions dot build dot perform. There is another method dot build. Why we use, this is a tricky question. Okay, so suppose someone gave one scenario like there is just a menu. Okay, when you mouse over, then it appears it display the list, and then if I go to third list, I have to click there. Okay, so suppose you are using this drag and drop method. So first what you have to do, you have to go mouse over on that menu, right? And then you have to come at third options, and you have to click. So here we are doing two actions parallelly, one by one, right? First we mouse over, then we go to third options. So we may write two, 3 lines. First, go to that uh, sub-menu and mouse over, then that list will appear and then click. So we are doing 2, 3 actions in this. Okay, so this build will, what it will do, it is used for chaining actions. Okay, because we can use uh, 2, 3 actions we can combine and we can build and then perform. So build is actually used to for chain actions, because we are doing 2 actions one by one. So to perform that actions, I need actions.build.perform. So these questions will come across when you go for the interviews. That you'll answer like actions.build.perform is perfectly fine, but they may try to see if you know the logic behind it, why we use build, why we use perform. Okay, so these are some few questions were there what we'll try to cover in coming sessions. Okay, so that will really help. So like there another tricky question is what is JavaScript executor? Okay, so we all know that JavaScript executor is an interface which provide mechanism to execute JavaScript, right? But what it is, why we use, where we use, these kind of question will come across, right? So that's it from my side. Karthik, if you have anything.
You know, these questions are like, let's say I'm a Uber driver, okay? My primary
Okay.
role is to look at the app, know when a customer is requested, go there, pick them up, help them board the luggage, take them where they want, make sure they're comfortable, and then drop them. All right. But then if someone asks me a question like, so tell me something very technical about the engine of your car, it's not so relevant. And sometimes that's fine, team, to be very loud-mouthed and say, that's not scope, part of my scope. Now, I have never used JavaScript executor by the word. Even Selenium ID could be using it, a JavaScript executor. But then I never even mentioned that in any of my trainings. And that is okay to say that I'm sorry, I'm not aware of it. I have not. But then how do we answer them? That's very important. The more you talk in the interview and the less interviewers get a chance to ask questions, the better the interview is going. I mean, not that they're bored of it and they stopped asking you questions, but they're listening to you. So you got to look at 2 points, team, that I've just kind of put it on the screen right here. Who are we answering to primarily? We are trying to answer to whom? When we talk about an answer, for example, Lizzie, right? Your answer, do you think, for example, a non-automation engineer developer, just a programming developer will understand? Not necessarily, right? So we have to talk it like a story, guys, assuming that the other party has absolutely no clue about anything, and that's why they're asking us. So the way I typically would start is, a lot of times there are applications where you need to perform a drag and drop, and you can give examples of certain applications like, let's say, Google Maps, where you try and drag and drop something, or even Google Drive, or so many other applications in today's world. And we talk about the concept that the user has to click on an element at one location, then keep it selected, take it all the way to another location and drop it. So we have 2 locations, one object or element that we're dragging across and putting it in there. Now how do we do it on a browser using Selenium WebDriver through automation? Then we give the technical answer. Even if you don't give the technical answer at that time, at least 50% of your question, they know that this person has got a lot of clarity in the way he or she thinks. That is very important, team. Am I making sense, or do you think what I'm talking is stupid, everyone? Do you think it makes sense? So don't try and answer a question. When someone asks you a question, give a complete story for it. People look at you not because they like your answer, because they like your personality. That's why you get selected, team. So be descriptive. And the other one, and that kind of takes care of everyone in this audience. Like Anjuman was saying, she had QA manager, lead, developer, automation engineer, everyone in there. Sometimes you can say that related to your project experience. You can say, I'm sorry, I never got an opportunity for that in my project, because my project dealt with lot of CRM, workflows, e-commerce, or you can say that it was all about shopping cart or a financial system and so on, and then spend 2 minutes on that. Take that opportunity. What's wrong? You go to, let's say, a general physician and say, I have a broken bone. Are they going to fix it, or will they send you to an orthopedic? Because that's a specialization. But if they know that your approach is good, that's good enough, team. And this is what I want to continue to do along with Manoj in the next sessions, team, where we kind of give you those tips and strategies of how you answer them. Believe me, the way you answer is more important than what you answer. I could be absolutely speaking the wrong thing, but my approach could have some weightage. Team, can I get some response from the audience that yes, you agree, you disagree, something fair enough or not? I don't see many questions coming across or comments. All right, thank you, team. So, any other questions, any other points, Manoj, or should we meet on the day one then?
That's it from my side, Karthik. We can meet on day one and we can discuss further.
All right. So yes, let's definitely meet on day one, but just a couple of questions that were asked. Any questions that were asked previously not answered, team? Prerequisites for this. One, you need to be a Jpac or a Selenium premium member. Because what we will talk going forward will not make sense to everyone else, team. Okay? And this is like a 5 to 7 sessions live, but much more content offline that you will have access. See, a couple of questions that I'll try and take from the team audience and then we'll let go. Most of the people are asking behavioral questions and they want to see how you'll perform in team. So Itisha, for example, the answer I gave, right, was the question was not a behavioral question, but the answer was, right, I answered it in such a way they know my personality. That's what you should try and always look at. You don't need to wait for the question to get asked for them to assess your personality too. Alright? And behavior question is more in what is it? It's your experience, your life experience. That's what we're trying to put together. Shanu, yeah, thank you so much. Why don't you care of yourself? I will. And believe me, the voice that I blast in these sessions is at a very high pitch, so it hurts me more. But hopefully my surgery tomorrow will help me out. When does the live project session start for this batch? It is good to attend interview sessions before we do our project. I think, Kavita, you can take them parallelly. It doesn't have to be that interview comes first or live project. You can take them parallelly. It should not matter. In this case, order does not matter. We have Selenium live training sessions from tomorrow. So when I plan to start the mock interview sessions, please? I think it's planned for next week. That's when it's going to be, team. And I'm flying out to India on the 23rd. And so for 1 or 2 days next week, I'll not be available. Apart from that, I'll continue things as is from India, team. I'll be there for about 3 weeks. Thank you, Karthik, for that wishes. Do you have the Selenium live training tomorrow? Yes, we do. Shabana Sheikh, I'm absolutely manual test. I want to drive towards automation and want to start with Selenium. So what is the first course you advise me to start in IT-Learn? Yeah, just start with Selenium training. Just start with Selenium videos or live. Then you can go for project and then interview, Shabana. Share your details. I'll have one of my team members walk you through it. Can you pass the interview by just watching the videos? I don't think you will, Moses. There's no way you will. If you watch the videos, practice, do a project, then yes. But just by videos, it won't happen, team. Hi, I'm a Selenium member. Do I need to pay for mock interview session? I believe, Anita, there's a $99 fee for this. We didn't keep it too high. We want to keep it controlled, but at the same time, make sure that you're committed to it. Because whenever I say fee, free training, right, I get 500,000 people joining, but there's no skin in the game for it. That's the reason. So there's a $99 fee, but for Jpac, it is free. Jpac members do not have to pay anything. Oh yeah, team Jpac members, just do not worry about anything. You're all in. You're based in New Zealand, does not matter in Shabana. We have a lot of members from down south, Australia, New Zealand. I'll have someone call you and guide you through it. Where will you find this video session? You'll find the video session in our YouTube channel. It's youtube.com/qtp.elearn team. Sorry, I hate to cough into the mic when I'm doing that. I really apologize, team. All right, team, that's it for today then. Hopefully, most of things are covered. What is Jpac? Jpac training free and so on. Free. I'll have some sales members contact you on this team. Can I repeat Selenium training from tomorrow since I missed some from March batch? Absolutely, Kavita. No problem at all. More than welcome. Don't worry. Just send an email and join in. Thank you, everyone. Thank you now. Take care. Have a good night. Good day. Bye now. Bye all.